Hello, comrades. Welcome back to my channel. This is Rabblecat, just another pro playing games. Glad you could join me. Today, I want to talk about someone named Chen. Now, I don't know that much about Chen. Apparently, she's formerly known as Roaming Millennial, and which is a name I've heard. I've seen Chen before. Like I said, I just don't know that much about her, but she has a pretty funny take, interesting, that I would like to talk about. So we'll take a look at it. But first, let's take a look at let's learn a little bit about who Chen is, just to provide for us a baseline. So we'll go over here, and this is Wikitubia. I don't really go on this site very often, but this is the only page I could find with some information. So it says, Chen, formerly known as Roaming Millennial, is a political commentator currently employed at Blaze TV. She has 415,000 subscribers and over 49 million views. Yeah, so Chen, she supports the alt-right. Yeah. Chen has claimed the bell curve is factual. A book that addresses difference in IQ between ethnic groups and how intelligence affects their ability to rise out of poverty. White nationalists have used this as an argument for white racial supremacy. She claims the author of the book, Charles Murray, is not racist. She herself believes that IQ is mostly genetic. Yeah. I'm not going to get into why Charles Murray is wrong. I guess I should just refer you to a video made by Shaun about Charles Murray's book, The Bell Curve, and why it's wrong. But suffice it to say, I don't think we're looking at someone who is a particularly moral person. So apparently, she did an interview with Richard Spencer in which she threw softball questions at him. And so anyway, let's take a look at a take that she made recently in this particular video here. We'll go ahead and just watch it together, and I'll talk about a little bit more about it afterwards. So let's go.
There are a lot of differences between the US, Germany, and Finland. But if you ask a socialist why it is that Germany and Finland perform better than the US in certain metrics, they'll say it's because the government is bigger and the taxes are higher. That is the answer to prosperity. Is that right, though? Are higher taxes and big government really the answer to Germany and Finland's success? It couldn't possibly be because they have overwhelmingly homogeneous populations. Right? Populations that, by the way, also have a higher average IQ and narrower distribution than the US does. If it was... There are a lot of differences between the US...
Okay, alright, so this is an argument that's been thrown around in online right-wing circles for many years now. It usually gets brought up in the context of, like, say you were a Bernie Sanders supporter and you want to make the case that, like, hey, there are Northern European countries like Denmark and Finland and Germany, Iceland, that have universal single-payer healthcare systems. And these countries aren't, communist wastelands of fucking starvation and they're perfectly wealthy, successful countries in every metric that we could measure, comparing them to the United States. So, and this is what they'll say. They'll say, "Ha! You silly person. Didn't you know? The reason why these countries are so successful is not because they have social democratic policies. Oh, who would think such a silly thing? It's actually because they're all white. And this is actually not a good argument. By the way, when these people say that when they use the word homogenous, it's a racist dog whistle. That's what it is. Now, what would if you call them out on this and you say, what do you mean, like because they're white? They'll turn around and say, no. I mean that they're culturally homogenous. Now, of course, what does that mean? Culturally homogenous? As in they all have the same exact culture? How does a country become culturally homogenous? How do you get to that point? Because you could make the argument that like the purpose of a social democratic policy is to kind of bring people together and to help people to bring them on into an equal playing field, right? You want to try to minimize poverty, right? And the thing with social democracy is that it's the point of it is to reform capitalism. I don't actually consider myself really a social democrat. I have some camaraderie with some social democrats, but I consider myself a socialist. So I'm more radical generally than social democrats. But anyway, so I'm not trying to like completely just praise social democracy altogether here, and that's not my point. My point is that like you could make the case that like if a country is successful in their social democratic policies, they're probably going to end up more quote unquote culturally homogenous because they're more equal. There's not as much income inequality. And that's a result of higher taxes, welfare state, and social safety nets, etc. Right? So, having said that, I made this argument on Twitter, and I said this argument is a racist dog whistle. There are lots of homogenous, non-white countries that don't have the same level of industrial success as Northern European countries. So what she really means is that the reason that they're successful is that they're majority white. It's a bad faith argument because if it isn't a racist dog whistle and what she really means is that these countries are culturally homogenous or something, then what does she think socialist or social democratic policies are designed to do? These policies are designed to put everyone on an equal playing field so we can be more culturally homogenous, which, if she were arguing in good faith, would basically mean the same thing as equal. Social policies are designed to bring people together as equals. So one can argue that they're culturally homogenous because of their social democratic policies. So don't fall for this homogenous bullshit. It's fucking racist. All right? Now, it's pretty funny. Something funny happened. All right, let me just pull it up for you. Okay. So, yeah. So here, this person tweeted out Lauren Chen. I guess she was having an argument. This is just a picture, so I don't have the full thing pulled up, but she did the exact thing that I expected her to do, which is she got called out for being racist, and she said, someone asked, she said, no, it's cultural. I'm talking about cultural homogeneity, not racial homogeneity. And so this person says, so if it's not racial homogeneity you want, what kind of homogeneity is it, Lauren? And she says, education, wealth, skill, language, culture, religion. Like literally all parts of society. And she follows it up by saying, socialists are political extremists. I do not seek the moral validation of political extremists. Stay mad, commies. So my question is, how do you get homogeneity in education? How does a country do that? Northern European countries have cultural homogeneity in terms of education. What about cultural homogeneity in wealth? Jeez. How do you do that? How can you make a country homogenous in education, wealth? Oh, and what about skill? From each according to their need, or from each according to their ability, to each according to their need. Sounds like you might be kind of a socialist, Lauren Chen. Like literally all parts of society. Socialism, society. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, that's all I really have to say about this. Don't fall for this bullshit. It's fucking bullshit. It's racist. I mean, it's very, very clearly racist. Like, no joke, it's racist. Alright, guys. Stay rad. Catch you next time.